Hello viewers, in today's session we'll find out the expression for peak time TP. This is one of the time domain specifications, and for this you're supposed to differentiate C of t at t equal to TP and equate it to 0. Usually for finding any maximum value we are supposed to differentiate and equate it to 0 so that we can capture the maximum point here. Now here the unit step response of second order system C of t equal to 1 minus e power minus zeta omega n into t by root over 1 minus zeta square to sine omega d t plus theta. Already we have found this expression from the earlier sections. So please check out the video there. Here we are supposed to differentiate this and equate it to 0. D by dt of C of t equal to d by dt. How differentiation of 1 would be 0. So you are left with this term. That would be minus e power minus zeta omega n into t by root over 1 minus zeta square into sine omega d into t plus theta. Differentiation of this. So whole of this is one term u and v. So d by dt of uv. Applying that formula we get minus differentiation of this term e power minus zeta omega n into t. For e power x anyhow it's e power x, so minus e power minus zeta omega n into t by root over 1 minus zeta square constant into, for this term, that is minus zeta omega n into, as usual, this term sine omega d into t plus theta plus, now this term, that would be minus e power minus zeta omega n into t by root over 1 minus zeta square. For this one, that would be cos omega d into t plus theta, and for this term that would be omega d. Now replacing omega d with omega n into root over 1 minus zeta square. Already we have found this in the earlier sessions. Please check out the video there. Minus into minus, that would be plus e power minus zeta into omega n into t 1 minus zeta square into zeta omega n into sine omega d into t plus theta minus e power minus zeta omega n into t by root over 1 minus zeta square into cos omega d into t plus theta. For this omega d replacing with the above expression omega n into root over 1 minus zeta square. Now from this, taking out e power minus zeta omega n into t by root over 1 minus zeta square omega n as common, then we are left with zeta into sine omega d into t plus theta minus, taking all this common, we are left with root over 1 minus zeta square into cos omega d into t plus theta. The data, if this is theta, 1 is zeta root over 1 minus zeta square. From this we can replace in terms of cos theta and sin theta. That would be omega n by root over 1 minus zeta square to e power minus zeta omega n into t. This is cos theta into sine omega d into t plus theta minus, this is sin theta into cos omega d into t plus theta. Rearranging this, omega n by root over 1 minus zeta square into e power minus zeta omega n into t. Arranging this, sine omega d into t plus theta into cos theta minus cos omega d into t plus theta into sin theta. So this is nothing but sin A plus B. So we get omega n by root over 1 minus zeta square into e power minus zeta omega n into t by sin omega d into t plus theta minus theta. So you are left with omega n by 1 minus zeta square into e power minus zeta omega n into t into sin omega d to t. This got cancelled, so you are left with this. Now we are supposed to find out at t equal to tp. This is only the differential part we have. This expression we are supposed to replace t with tp at t equal to tp and differentiating it and equating it to 0. That would be t by dt of c of t is nothing but this one, omega n by root over 1 minus zeta square into e power minus zeta omega n into tp into sine omega d into tp equal to 0. Now we know this particular term is not equal to 0. This can't be 0. Obviously this term would be 0. So e power minus zeta omega n into tp is not equal to 0, that implies sine omega d into Tp equal to 0. Sine phi equal to 0, that implies phi equal to 0, pi, 2 pi, so on. So therefore, omega d into Tp equal to pi. So peak time Tp equal to pi by omega d. And we all know omega d is nothing but omega n into root over 1 minus zeta square. So in terms of omega n, you can write Tp as pi by omega n into root over 1 minus zeta square. So in terms of omega d, Tp equal to pi by omega d. In terms of omega n, Tp equal to pi by omega n into root over 1 minus zeta square. So if you find this video useful, please like, share and subscribe.